Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Career Girl Chats. My name is Anna O, and I am the founder of Career Girl Lifestyle. We are a platform for ambitious women who want to win, and our mission is to equip and empower women with the tools that they need to not just succeed, but to thrive in their careers and in life. Typically, we talk about careers and business, which is all great, but today we will be talking about love and dating and relationships. This is going to be a two-part topic, so we have two special guests. Our first guest for today is Angela N. Holton. She is a dating and relationship expert, and she is going to be talking to us about attracting love as an ambitious woman. So before I invite Angela into the chat, I just want to make sure that we read her credentials to understand why she is such a perfect fit for this discussion. Angela N. Holton has been seen on the New York Post, BET Her, Fox, and so many more publications. She is an international coach, speaker, author, and the founder of Love Sanctuary, an online spiritual and personal development site centered on helping individuals create success and transformation through self-empowerment and self-love. And today, she is going to speak to us about changing our dating experiences and, as I mentioned before, attracting love as an ambitious woman. So let me invite Angela into the chat so we can get this discussion going. Welcome to Career Girl Chats, Angela. I'm so happy to have you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have this discussion
Let's
as
go.
mentioned before, our platform is for career-oriented women. So we're always talking about our careers, how can we be better professionals? How can we be better businesswomen? But I think love definitely plays a role in that, right? And who we have as a partner and how we show up in the world. It all goes hand in hand.
I mean, but that's part of the problem. There's not enough discussion for professional women about dating and relationships. So let's bring it to the forefront so women who desire it make it as important as the other aspects of their lives. Like, Absolutely. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it
a priority.
Well, before we get into all the questions that we have, because there are a few.
There are a lot.
Can you just start off by telling us about your work as an expert dating and relationship coach? I'd like to know, what do you do with your clients that has made you so successful?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, the title expert was given to me by the world, the audience. I didn't choose that title for myself. I let the world choose it for me. And one of my first appearances talking about the conscious love and dating method, someone called me a dating expert. So I owned it. And they say it takes 10 years to be an expert at anything. And I've been at the dating game even longer. So I got into this space because of my own relationship challenges, right? We actually become sort of the story that we struggle with the most in our lives. And so desiring partnership for me and family was something that eluded me. And I struggled with the why and not why not me, and understanding that. So that morphed into me becoming a relationship coach. I started off as a coach talking about self-love, self-empowerment. And then the last year and a half, it became the conscious love and dating method. And really the premise of the method is to date from the inside out. And that's the process that I take my clients through. It's really about becoming the match, becoming the partner that you're seeking. So much of the narrative around dating now is about being in pursuit of someone else, looking for this complement to you, looking for someone who's going to make you whole and complete and make your life better. It's about becoming who you want. That's the dating process. And really by shifting that mindset as being a form of, I'm going to approach dating as a place of curiosity, less about this attachment to the outcome. Because when we attach to things too tightly, like we had this grip, like I want it, we actually keep it away from us. It's the energy of desperation. And from that place, we repel what we want. So the shift in creating and attracting relationships is really about approaching it with lightness, curiosity, inquisitiveness about oneself. Say, I'm going to date to learn about myself. And from that place is where you attract better quality dates, better quality relationships, and you become the version of the person that you want to attract.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, we often hear about making sure that we have this form of self-love and, we're healed as women before we go out into the world and we're seeking for other partners. So, my first question to you is, how do you know when you're in the right mental space to even start dating in the first place, or to even, be in a relationship?
When you don't need one.
Mm.
When it's I was talking about the energy of desperation, right? When you're coming from that place of yearning or that feeling that your life is missing something, that's when you really want to do the inward work before you go out and attract a partner. Because when we have that sense of yearning, that comes from a void that we feel within ourselves. We want to make sure we feel fulfilled in our own lives on a day-to-day. Nothing's ever perfect, right? Our lives are always an evolution. We're always progressing and striving for greater. But from the outset, you want to feel good about who you are. Your self-esteem should be in check. And if not, really take that journey inwardly to validate yourself. Because if you can't really validate yourself and you're looking for a partner to validate you or to be your source of fulfillment and happiness, it will sabotage and destroy the relationship before it can even get out the gate. So my advice to women is always, do you like your life in general? Do you wake up and feel pretty good about who you are, your contributions to the world? You look in the mirror and you like who you see. You like the woman you are becoming, right? None of us are ever perfect. This is a lifelong journey we're in here. And we're in an academic school, this life, right? So, but in general, do you like who you are when you wake up? Do you feel good? And from that place, if you can say yes, if you found fulfillment and purpose and joy in your life, it's time to go date. It's time to put your best foot forward and go out there and attract that energy that you feel within yourself. But if you feel doubtful, insecure, not to say that you're not ready for dating, but you really want to work on building your confidence and your self-esteem so that you bring in and attract love that matches a frequency of abundance and love, someone who feels good about themselves. Because if you feel the opposite of that, you will attract a relationship and experience that will validate your sense of low self-worth. So, but that doesn't mean we have to be completely healed and whole. This whole life, the journey of life is healing. We're always healing. We're always in preparation for something. So it doesn't mean you can't date and heal and do the work at the same time. But it's about being conscious. It's about being mindful of our choices. It's about noticing our wounds and our triggers and when we're sabotaging our relationship success. If we're still repeating the same patterns over and over and over again, and you haven't gained that eagle perspective, bird's eye view, hire a coach. Hire someone to help you see what you can't see, and that you just keep running into the same roadblocks, the same impasses, and the same person. Right? That's when you need to switch up and try something different.
Right. So a lot of women, and I'm sure you've heard this as a coach, they express the frustration in not being able to find a good man, right? I'm sure you've heard that, like, where are all the good men? Where are they at? I can't find any. What do women need to do in order to shift this kind of thinking?
And I say this very lovingly. This is said very lovingly. Be a good woman. That's one of the things that I want to debunk, is this narrative that men are bad and women are all good, and women are all ready and prepared for relationship and men are not.
Right.
It's a conversation and a narrative for men and women to be doing the work. Women are equally as ill-equipped for relationships as men are. Believe it or not. Women do not have sort of greater relationship skills than men do. Otherwise, we'd have greater success in general. It's all of us. It's not gender specific. Relationship tools require relationship skills. Relationship success requires relationship skills. So it's not gender specific. We all have to do the work. So if a woman wants a good man, become that good woman. Become the ideal of the man or the partner that you're seeking. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I think one of the things that women need to really ask themselves, the question is, how do I show up in a relationship? Right? Because it takes two to tango. And our relationships don't fail just because of the man or the person that showed up. We're showing up in that relationship too. So the onus and the responsibility to change our experiences falls on us. We are the common denominator. We are the person that's showing up in each relationship. So that's the first point. Instead of projecting and saying men are this or they're no good this, is gently and compassionately turning that finger inward and saying, how have I been showing up in all my relationships and why do they all look the same? That's our point of power. And that's the point of change. We can't change other people. We can only change ourselves and our own experiences.
Right. So what do you say to a woman who feels as though, you know, she's done all of the healing work and she's ready to show up as her most authentic, healthy self, but she's still not attracting the kind of men that she would like to attract, or she's still having the same issues that she's had in past relationships?
Well, if it's the same issues that she's having in past relationships, she probably still there's a blind spot. And maybe there's a blind spot she hasn't addressed or worked with with a therapist or with a coach. That's would be my point. But I'm not saying that, you know, once a woman's done all the work that this magical relationship is just going to show up. You know, there's timing. There's a timing factor that we don't have control over. You know, I'm a woman of faith. It's God's timing, not our own. So my advice is keep doing the work. You know, every day strive to be a better version of yourself yesterday and fall in love with your life more and more every day. Fill in any voids that you have. You know, it's about falling in love with you, falling in love with your life, and then allowing that person to show up and have space for them to fall in love with you. So I find women struggle with that last piece, is really being open to receiving that person. There's a lot of disbelief. If women are saying there are no good men out there, that's what they're going to create, right? Our thoughts become things.
Right.
So if you say there are no good men,
you're going to find no good men.
You're going to find no good men. But if you say, I just need one man that embodies these characteristics, these values that are important to me, and I embody those values as well.
Right.
Because a lot of the contradiction is women have these high standards for men and their partners that they don't uphold for themselves.
And we're going to get into that too, because I definitely have a question about standards. But it's so true what you're saying, because I was never a woman to say like there aren't any good men, but you know, I've definitely been the type of woman to say like, well, where are they? Do they live in my city? Okay. But then I had a male friend say to me, well, Anna, because of how you think, I don't even think you would be like, you wouldn't even know if you walked into one.
You just need one.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of what we create in life is based on the mindset and the thoughts that we keep. Thoughts become things, and our lives move in the direction of the thoughts that we keep the most. So if we keep telling ourselves that story, that's going to be the experience we keep encountering. So your thoughts have to change to, I believe in this one person for me.
Yeah.
And start preparing and acting as if that partner has shown up today. Are you ready? I'm not saying you in general, but the ladies watching, are you ready for that person to show up? Have you made space for that partner in your life? Are you fulfilled in your life's purpose, your life's work? Because, you know, relationships are a lot. And you want two partners that have come to the relationship with, doesn't have to be 50-50, but sort of equal contribution, right? Each person is bringing to the table, you know, healthy skill sets, tools. They're both feeling purposeful in their lives. They know the direction their lives are headed in. And we live in a world where women, and this is the unfair bias, where part of it's our biology, part of it is the society we live in, where there's this pressure for us to be married and have children by a certain age. And sometimes that precedes really what God has for us. So we can't put what God, you know, what we want before God wants for us. So if we can that's the hard part, is surrender our agenda, show up in our best version of ourselves, fall in love with your life, do things you enjoy every day, create a life you truly, truly love, like where you would be on the outside looking at it like, wow, she's got a great life. Wow, she looks so happy. Wow, I want what she has. Create that. Because when you become that, you become the magnet to love. Men won't pass you by because you are electrifying. You are just open and warm, and you are in a place of receiving and inviting someone in. Women, particularly in this modern, professional women, often struggle, as I was saying, with the receiving part.
Yes.
They're very much in their masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to attract a masculine male, he's going to be attracted to a feminine female.
Yes.
It's really about start off by changing the story that you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
The belief systems about your life, about who you are, and about what you attract. But if people keep hitting up against the same story, the same pattern, it's time to try something different. Try a therapist, try a coach.
Prior to our live chat, I did a poll about love and relationships on our Instagram. The first question that relates to that poll is, do you believe the ideology that only men should be doing the pursuing, or do you think there are exceptions to this rule? 60% of the women on our page actually said that they don't believe that men should be making the first move. They think that women can also make the first move.
Okay. So here's what I think. If you want a masculine male, you want him to pursue you. But when you are embodying your female essence, you are in a place of inviting. A woman needs to just be available. Her language says, I'm approachable. Her language says, I'm open to speaking to you. So that's what women just need to make themselves available. That doesn't mean you can't reach out to someone and flirt and message someone in DMs. But in terms of pursuit and courtship, I'm a traditionalist in that way. I believe a man, the way the relationship starts is the way it's going to be in the middle and in the end. So if you want to constantly be the one chasing after him, you're going to set the tone of that in the very beginning. And when a woman is in her feminine essence, there's really nothing she has to do but just show up. It's really just show up. Have you ever been, I'm just going to throw it back to you. Yeah. Have you ever dated someone where you didn't have to do anything? You just showed up and he just admired you and appreciated you.
Absolutely.
As just being a woman.
Absolutely.
So what's happening is that women, ambitious women, professional women, are working in more non-traditional female roles, so to speak. So we're in more masculine type of energies that we didn't have, in gender roles that we didn't have 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So sort of the struggle and the imbalance for women that are professional, as I was saying earlier, is when you are in that masculine space at work, leadership, problem solving, decision making, those aspects of being masculine. When you're ready to dial up the flirt, right, it's becoming feminine. Mm-hmm. And when you become feminine, you're more about vulnerability. You're more about cooperation, collaboration, compassion, interdependence. So, and when you're giving off that and you're vulnerable to receive, like you're just in this place, it's an energy that comes off. That masculine male will be drawn to you. Right. And the right person, you won't have to do anything. They will call you when they say they're going to call you. They will show up when they say they're going to show up. A woman can't change a man. A woman can't force his interest. Mm-hmm. If you pursue him and they don't show up, it'll always be that way.
Right. But in terms of like making the first move, because although my poll was for women, there were like some men who were kind of chiming in. And one of my male friends reached out to me and was like, oftentimes I would rather do the pursuing, but there have been times where maybe I was interested in a woman, but I wasn't really sure, or maybe I was intimidated, so I didn't make that move. So yeah. What do you say to that?
See, I think pursuing someone and making the first move are two different things.
Right.
Pursuing
so women make the first move?
Of course. I mean,
Okay.
you have dating apps like Bumble that are designed
Yes.
for the woman to make the first move. Absolutely. You can let someone, you can slide in their DMs, you can flirt, you can make that 7 second eye contact, or is it 8 seconds, like that eye contact to
What's
say, I'm
that?
available.
Tell us a
When you,
little bit about
yeah,
that.
so I can't remember if it's 8 seconds or not, but a lot of times, when we were able to gather in public, when women would interact with a man, they might look and flirt, but then they turn away very quickly. But you're supposed to stare. I think it's 6 seconds or 7 seconds, and just don't move the gaze.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
can be a little
I'm sure
uncomfortable.
there's some women taking notes right now, like
So
6
yeah,
seconds.
6 or 7 seconds. But I just want to be clear. Absolutely, a
Yeah.
woman can text someone, say, hey, whatever that initial conversation is. But in terms of being pursued, that's
Right.
different.
Okay.
Let the masculine energy make the date, ask you out, pursue you, court you, not the other way around. I've heard it 7 seconds. Yes, 7 seconds. It's signaling to someone that you're interested
Right.
and you're approachable.
So let's say we are, on the first date. What are the right questions? What are the questions that we should be asking?
So I think you should be, if you meet them on a dating app or somewhere, there's some questions you should be asking before you go out on the date. You want to know what someone's intentions are for being on the dating app. Are you looking for the same thing? So you should have that ground covered before you go out on a date. I think, it doesn't mean you can't go out with someone who says, well, I'm not sure. That's a little bit of a red flag for me when someone's
Mhm.
uncertain as to what they want. I want a
Yes.
little bit more clarity. But you want to ask questions. First of all, you want to have a good time. You
Hmm.
want to be yourself. You want to show up in the date where you are genuine and authentic and you're able to show a little lightness and fun. No one wants to feel like they're at a job interview.
Right.
No one likes that. That's not fun. But you could ask questions, aside from their background, where they grew up, what their favorite color is. You could ask, about their previous relationship. One of the questions I don't like, and if men are watching this, it's not fair to ask a woman, why is she so beautiful and this and still single?
Yeah.
Ladies, if there's men in your life, tell them not to ask a single woman that question. Because the question can be thrown right back. And what difference does it make that she's beautiful and still single? Maybe that's a personal choice. Maybe her
Mhm.
relationship hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
Doesn't, you know, you could ask maybe, do you want to be married? Like, what are your goals for marriage or long term? But to say, why are you still single? You're this, you're that, as if those are the only requirements to being
Yeah.
in partnership. And it's not.
Yeah.
So you want to ask about their relationships, their family, do they get along with their parents? I think that's a really important question, is, the relationship with his parents. And you want to know the relationship with his siblings, just to know if there's any type of trauma or strife in the family, and whether he's done any therapy or healing around that. Is he estranged from one of his parents? Like, for me, that's a little bit like, okay, if he's estranged from one of his parents, there could be some deep core wounding around that, unless they've gone to therapy or they've gotten some help with that. And then you want to know, what they like to do recreationally. What are their hobbies? What are their values, right? You want to attract from the value place. What's important in their lives? What are their top values? Do they want children? How does God show up in their life? So whatever's an important value for you, you want to ask questions about that in them.
One of the things that I know I've gotten it, I'm sure there are other women on here who can attest to that too. Like, especially for men, our peers, most of the time when you ask about their intentions, they always say, oh, well, I'm just trying to see where it goes. I'm just going with the flow. So how do women respond to, I'm just going with the flow, or I'm just seeing where this goes? What does that mean, and what do you do?
So I'm a different age demographic than you. So if I hear someone younger still might be trying to figure things out, and maybe they're not ready for marriage, and that's up to you. You have to be clear on what your relationship goals are. And if you're not clear, explore. But if you're clear on what you want, you want marriage, you want a long-term committed relationship, you want monogamy. Again, find that out before you go out with them. And if they say,
Right.
yeah, well, for me, I don't entertain anyone anymore who just says they don't know what they want.
Right.
I just don't, because for me, there's a little lack of honesty there, because no matter where you are in your life, I want a conscious man. And if he's a conscious man, he's intuitive and self-aware of what he wants at any given time. It may not align with me, but at least he can say, yeah, I'm just looking to have fun right now. That's an honest answer.
Right. Yeah.
Or I just got out of a relationship, not interested in anything serious. Or I've been single a long time. I've done the work. I'm really looking for my Mrs.
Yeah.
For me, that question is very important.
Yeah.
But, I do encourage millennials and younger to really be clear on what your life goals are and relationship goals, not goals of your parents, your grandparents, your church, your best friends that have gotten married. Figure out what is right for your life in this moment, not what's happening on social media, right? Everybody's path and journey in this life is different. And had I gotten married when I really wanted it and I was clinging to it, I wouldn't be impacting the lives of hundreds of women around the world on just this topic. So, if you're a person of faith and you believe that we're here in service and we're here for greater purposes than just fulfilling our own wants and needs and desires, then we have to be willing to sit in our struggles and see how our struggles may be used for greater sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, but no, I want what I want. I get it. But it's not really always about what we want in our timeline. So my greatest advice is live your best life. Enjoy yourself. We can't control timing. Date intentionally. When I say date intentionally, meet people. Have strategy to how you're going to connect and meet with people. If you want to be in a relationship, out the gate, start with that intention, but be curious about who that person is. We often say, I want this. We have this list. But we don't really know what that list shows up in its full embodiment because we're not dating. And that's what the conscious love and dating method is about. It's about dating to discover yourself and to discover that ideal person for you. And younger people, I encourage you even more because you're still discovering and learning things about yourself. Right. Don't just wait for that one magical person to show up. It shows up by you kind of going around having sort of like almost like you're at the buffet, right? When you go to a buffet, the first round on the buffet, you may take everything on your plate, right? And then the second trip to the buffet, you're like, yeah, no, I didn't really like this. This was good. I want more of this. Yeah, I could pass on that. I want some room for dessert. That's kind of how we want to approach dating. Date and just say yes to not everyone. Like I want women to be safe and make smart choices. But when you say yes for coffee, it's just coffee. That person shouldn't have to check all these boxes just for coffee. But have coffee, have conversation. Notice how you show up in dating. Are you shy? Do you struggle speaking your authenticity when someone says something that you don't agree with? Do you get quiet? How do you communicate? How do you gently reject somebody? How do you handle rejection? Those are all things we learn and see by how we show up to dating. So, I find that women can have this standard and this barometer, this sort of threshold to who that person has to be before they'll even say yes for coffee.
Right. It's true.
Just say yes for coffee. Yeah. Get the practice. Don't say I haven't been on a date in 6 to 9 months and say you want a relationship. Because if you tell me you want a relationship and you haven't been on a date in 9 or 10 months or a year, that's by choice. That's by choice. So if you want to meet someone, you got to be in the game. You got to be in it to win it. You can't be on the sidelines. So get yourself in the dating world. That's one of the biggest pitfalls I see for professional women is they're not in the dating game. They're waiting for it to just magically show up. They have strategy when it comes to their business and their entrepreneurship and executing this and hiring this team and social media team and marketing team. But when it comes to dating, it's like, okay, I'm just going to put my red lipstick on and just wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
No, like we need strategy. And so how are you going to meet someone? What are you going to do differently? How can you use this pandemic to date? I have clients that have gotten engaged. I have clients that are in relationships since the pandemic started. So if your dating life, if you don't like the way that your dating life looks, Don't blame outside factors. Take ownership and responsibility and take control over your own romantic life. That's the only thing we can change.
You are dropping major gems right now. Do you see these comments?
I do. I mean, I'm trying to see them, but I don't want to get too distracted. I want to go back to the conversation. I am a student of life, and I encourage everyone to be a student in life, to always be working to heal, to grow. You know, we don't come with an instruction manual, but there's so much wisdom out there that we can gain from mentors, coaches, therapists. You know, we do it for our education. We do it for our vocation and our jobs. We'll get training. We'll do all these things for our professional life and academic life. But when it comes to relationship,
yes,
the hardest, more challenging part of our lives, but yet the most pivotal and impactful, right? A lot of our happiness and fulfillment in life is contributed and centered around how the success of our relationships, whether romantic or otherwise. So doesn't that warrant a lot of attention and education and training and preparation?
absolutely.
So if you want to be a doctor, you go to medical school, right? If you want to be a lawyer, you go to law school. If you want to be a wife, go to school and learn how to be a wife. Learn how to show up for your partner. Learn communication skills. Use this time as dating, which is also part of the conscious love and dating method, to practice and prepare, right? You'll set yourself up for greater relationship success and longevity if you show up with tools, rather than saying, okay, I met this great person, we're getting married, and then boom, it hits the fan, because it's going to, and you have no skills. You have no skills to communicate. You have no skills to deal with conflict, no skills to deal with when someone triggers you, no skills to deal with when your wounds show up again. Start doing that work now, right? God always has us in preparation for something. Use this time, this season of singleness to truly prepare for what you want. Get closer to God. That's my take. Get closer to God.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm preaching here, but
go for it.
You know,
we love it. We love it.
Partner with God in every area of your life, and then let God bring that partner to you, because you know you are ready. You know, just saying that being in the place of yearning and desire doesn't mean we're ready for it.
Right.
Just means we're desiring. True preparation is exemplifying practice and skills and wisdom. You know, when problems show up in a relationship, not if. I said when they show up, right? Because they're going to show up.
They're going to come.
They're going to come. Is your partner willing to do therapy? Are they willing to get help and support? And you want to kind of get a feel of that early on. Are they open to doing the inner work? Are they open to going to church with you, or the things that are important to you? You want to size those things up right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're just like sparking so many extra questions that I didn't have.
I'm sorry.
In terms of like the first date, because I called all my girls prior to this live, and I'm like, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? One of the things that we were talking about is how much information we should be sharing. One of my girlfriends said, well, you never really want to tell a man what you want, because then he'll just act like that's who he is.
But he'll either be a fake or a fraud, and he'll be called out, so it won't matter. Because an intentional man might ask you, what are you looking for in a partner?
Yeah. Okay.
So my advice is, know what you want. At least have an idea of what you want.
Right.
Write down your values of what's important to you. And if he's asking you those kind of questions, at least it gives you a glimpse as to what his intentions are. He's looking for a woman who embodies some values and virtues that are important to him. You don't have to tell him everything. There's something called boundaries.
Right.
And boundaries is a form of self-love too. You don't have to pour out everything about your past, every relationship, every heartache, your childhood, your relationship with your mom, your dad. You don't have to do all of that. You know, bits and pieces. And you want to notice if they also have boundaries. Do they share too much? You know, there is something called, oversharing.
Yes.
And you want someone who has healthy boundaries as well as you. So, there's no right or wrong. You can gauge your comfort level, share what you're comfortable with. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, don't share it. Yeah. There'll come a time and a place to share. But for women, what I encourage you to do is to strengthen your relationship with your intuition. Because when you know that inner teacher, that part of yourself, and it does take just life experience too, to really understand this part of yourself. But when you hear that voice or get connected to that voice or that feeling in you that says this doesn't feel comfortable, or when the question is asked and there's like a little feeling in the throat, don't answer it. Or just pause so that you can take time to reflect on why that question had you respond the way that it did. And then you can react from a much more meaningful place than just, I didn't know what to say, or I just said this. Pause and say, let me I got to think on that for a minute. I hadn't thought of that question, but I want to sit with that because that's a great question.
Yeah. And let's say in terms of relationships, right? Like you're past the dating stage and you're in the relationship. How do you honor your boundaries, especially when you've broken them before with that person?
What do you mean broken the boundaries with that person?
So let's say you are a woman who you want to practice abstinence or celibacy, and then you slip up with your partner. What happens after that? How do you handle that, especially like when that other person, was told one thing, but your actions aren't really reflecting what you've told them?
They both slipped up. Let's say they both did, because he entered the relationship in agreement with her as well. So obviously, or I would presume that this value is as important to him as it is to her. When it comes to something as important as sex in a relationship, you want two parties, two people that are in agreement with that in the relationship. So you haven't destroyed everything because you slipped up, but I think it warrants an important conversation going forward. Is this something you both really want to do? You want both people to really value the celibacy and be in agreement to it. And if both parties are in agreement to it, then you both have to make decisions that will prevent those scenarios from happening again. You either staying the night with each other, or don't walk around in just your underwear, lingerie. You have to both have restraint. But if it's one person who wants the celibacy and the other person doesn't have that same value system, that's a little trickier.
Yeah.
That's a little trickier, because how long is this going to be? How long is the marriage? How long are they waiting? And I'm not saying that some men won't do it to honor the woman, and they will. That's great. But if it's a prolonged engagement or prolonged relationship, a man who may not be in full alignment with celibacy may be like, well, okay, how much longer? Like, you don't want to, and you don't want to use it so that you get engaged.
When should you start taking someone serious and fully allowing them into your life? So for example, meeting your family members, if you're a mother, introducing them to your kids. On our poll, 51% of women said 3 to 5 months, and 49% said a year or more. A year plus.
I think it really depends on individual circumstances. For me, I'm a very private woman. And when it comes to I'm private when it comes to my romantic life. So when it comes to meeting someone, I want to be pretty clear of where he and I stand before I introduce him to, or even before anyone even knows that I'm in a relationship.
Yep.
I mean, I will be in a full-on relationship. People will be like, you were with someone? I'm like, yeah. But, because when you've had that story of relationships not working, sometimes you just want to really nurture that space with your partner before you invite family members in, because families get excited for you, they get connected, and they get attached to your partner. But so I don't really want to give it a time, because I know someone who got married in 2 months after meeting their partner.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it really depends, but you want to be sure that you both are in agreement that if you have children and it's important to you to, that you're in a committed relationship, make sure you've had that discussion with your partner, that you are in that relationship. Let them know the importance of, how much you value your children and your family before you introduce them. 6 months, maybe. 6 months.
6 months. Just to put a number on it.
And if to put a number, and to see how it's going. You know,
Yeah.
is that person still showing up at 6 months? And if it still feels healthy and positive, introduce them to the family.
Right.
Introduce them, kids are a different factor. I don't have children, so I think that really depends on that mother's previous experience. Was she with someone else just before that? If you're, how many relationships will you introduce to your children?
Right.
Children should be safeguarded from all the nuances of relationships until you feel something's really, really solid. And even then, there's no guarantee a relationship is going to work out.
That's true.
That's the risk we all take.
Yeah. So it's just situational, pretty
It
much.
is.
Very situational. So let's talk about standards. You kind of touched on this in the beginning of the conversation. 80% of the women who took our poll said that their partner had to be just as ambitious as they are. And 62% said that they've been told that their standards are too high. So do you think that women are setting unrealistic standards?
Yes. And I think women are also setting standards for men that they're not upholding themselves up to as well. And that's not a fair standard.
Yeah.
If you have a high standard for someone else, shouldn't the standard for yourself be even higher and greater than that? Right? So whatever you're asking of someone else, we better bring that.
Right.
And more. So there's nothing wrong with having standards and boundaries and values. That is important, and you want to know that out the gate in a relationship. But make sure the standards that you're asking a man to meet you at, that you're showing up with those same standards. And if they're unrealistic, you'll know, because no one will ever meet them.
Right.
No one will ever meet them. So you want whatever you value is important to you. You want to set that standard for someone else. Does he have to be a businessman?
Yeah.
Does he have to be, an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
What if he's a jazz musician?
That's true.
I mean, is that, so women have to be clear on what they really want. Do they want to be loved and honored and respected? Mm-hmm. What you really want to get clear on. What you really want, or you want two people who have meaning and fulfillment in their lives.
Yeah.
That he feels a sense of purpose and joy in whatever he's doing. Don't compare your life to what you see on social media and these standards where you're like, well, she's a boss and I want a boss man and we bossing up together. Like, stop. Just stop. Like, how many of those relationships last a year? Date from heart-centered qualities. Date for integrity and in consistency. A man who shows up for himself. He values himself. He's consistent with his word to himself. He loves God and honors God, and he's consistent in his relationship with God. Those are the things you want to be important, because if he's consistent in his relationship with God, he's consistent with his love for himself and the things that are important to him, he's going to have integrity and be consistent with the things with you. You want someone who enjoys their life, that they have found something meaningful and passionate in their life. Women want to be as disciplined and consistent with themselves and the things that are important to them as they're asking for the consistency and commitment from another partner. So if you're struggling to find someone who's willing to commit, turn the mirror inward and ask yourself, where am I non-committal with myself? Where have I not shown up fully for me? Where am I flaky? Where have I not finished things that I said I was going to complete? That is where we often don't look. Yes. Where are the dreams that you've tucked away that you're not honoring yourself? And you're waiting for someone to show up in your life. Oh, once this happens, then I can write my book. Once this happens, then I can really start living the life that I've dreamt of, or I can start my business. Stick to the things that you say are important to you, and you will match that in a man who will be in integrity of his word, of things that are important to him too.
So let's talk about entrepreneurship, right? So a very popular comedian, entrepreneur. She made some very controversial statements last year when she was talking about what she wants out of a man. And she did say that she would prefer a man who was an entrepreneur over a man that worked a 9 to 5. I didn't take it the way that a lot of people thought she meant it, because she was more so just talking about her lifestyle. She wasn't really saying that,
and I can,
you know,
and
men
I can
who work
understand
9 to 5s don't work as hard. She was just saying that, you know, I, you know, work really long nights. And, you know, I've been in situations before where maybe the man who I was with, they didn't understand that. And so I need someone who has the same lifestyle as me, so that way he can understand, you know, my ambition and my drive and my lifestyle. So was she wrong for that? Because
no, I don't think she's wrong, but yeah. I don't necessarily think you have to both be entrepreneurs. Yeah, there's parts of entrepreneurship that a person who's not an entrepreneur might not understand and get. But if, again, what you really want in common is the sense of drive.
Right.
It's the sense of drive. It doesn't matter if they're an entrepreneur, a musician, an athlete. If having drive is important to you, someone else with drive is going to understand the hustle and the grind of entrepreneurship. They're just going to get it. Whether they work a 9 to 5 that ends up from 9 to midnight. They understand drive because they have drive. So I think the greater question is, I want someone who has drive and ambition. Drive, self-motivated. Because if they have drive and self-motivation, you'll share that in common. So when you're hustling, they're hustling. They understand the grind.
Right.
But they don't have to be an entrepreneur to understand that.
Right. No, I love everything you're saying, because I feel like for myself, and I'm sure for a lot of women on here, it's just redefining, you know, what we say we want.
It is.
You know, it's a lot of language and a lot of terms that we use, but we're not understanding how it's hindering our mindset and ultimately our success in dating and relationships. So this is something that I could not wait to speak to you about.
Uh-oh.
So let's talk about submission.
Oh, gosh.
So 70% of the women on who took our poll said that they do not believe in submission. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's personal. I think couples can decide. Women, it's something personal for each woman. The Bible says submit. The Bible says submit. I didn't write the Bible. However, I do believe things have changed in the world. However, God never gets anything wrong. So I think what that submission is, I think it looks differently than what we may have thought it was, or what it may have been in, you know, in those biblical times. But a man is a man for a reason. Mm-hmm. And there's capabilities that he has that a woman will never have because she's a woman. And a man's intrinsic qualities is to be a provider and a protector. Allow him to provide and protect you. Be willing to be provided for and protected. That's part of the reason why professional women struggle to meet a masculine male, is because they're not willing or allowing themselves to be protected and to be provided for. It's, I got it. I can do it. I got it. I don't need a man. I got it. Well, we know women can do everything. We don't really need men. We know that. But if you want a man and you want partnership, you got to find a way to have that man be needed in your life.
Yes.
This is science. Opposites attract. A negative electron is attracted to a positive electron. Negative and positive go like this. Mm-hmm. Two of the same repel one another. So if a woman wants to attract a masculine male who is the provider, who is the protector, and when I say provider, I don't just mean financially. I mean someone who is willing to take care of, provide security on emotional, physical, financial, but he's able to provide, able to say, I got you. If that's what she wants, then the opposite of that is being that feminine woman who is allowing herself to be led. She is allowing herself to receive. She is allowing herself to show up. That doesn't mean she's not capable. That doesn't mean she's not powerful, resourceful, contributing to the partnership. But if you want a man, you gotta let a man be a man. If you want to be the man in the relationship, good luck. You can't have two masculine energies in a relationship.
Right.
So I don't think being feminine necessarily means that you're completely submissive, but it does say that you're allowing yourself to receive and to be led by a compassionate, thoughtful leader. So the flip side of that is we need our men to be compassionate leaders. We need men showing up with unselfish love. Men that are willing to make decisions and take leadership for their families that's in the best interest of everyone, right? Not just himself. A man who's in service for himself is not a leader.
Right.
A true leader is in service for everyone and is there to uplift every member of that family. So sure, women can say, I'm not going to submit. I don't like to use the word submit. Let's just say she can show up to be as masculine as he is. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's just not going to work. There's a time to be feminine and there's a time to be masculine, no matter what. And I'm not diminishing our contributions as women. We already know we're capable of doing anything. We create life. We can sustain life. Someone can live off of us for 5 years off just breast milk, right? Or maybe not 5 years, but you can feed someone for years off your breast milk. I mean, imagine that. So we know we're capable, right? We know we're capable, but we don't have to bring our achievement and all the things that we know we're capable of to prove something and to compete with our male partners.
Right.
We don't need to compete with our partners. Let men compete with the world, right? Men don't want to come home to compete with their women, and women don't want to come home to compete with their men.
Right.
So if you want a man, because this is the thing, I don't like to use the word submit, but women often say, oh, I want this masculine guy. I want him to do this. I want to be able to do that. But yet she shows up just as masculine as him. So if you want that partner, how are you willing to show up to attract that partner?
Right.
To make him feel needed, right? A man's testosterone literally increases when he has done something of appreciation for a woman. So we don't have to go in there, oh, I got it, I can do it. Well, then why am I here?
Right.
You are literally helping a man feel good about himself when you allow him to provide and do things for you. When you allow him to be of service to you, to put a smile on your face. That is really his end goal, is to be part of the reason why you're smiling, to be a part of your happiness. Allow him to be that. Surrender. I don't have to have it. Because here's the thing, women often then complain about being burnt out and tired and I got to do everything. Well, stop doing everything.
Right.
Let him show up.
Right. How do you learn how to do that though, especially if you didn't see it in your upbringing?
That's a good question, especially if you were, raised by a single mother.
Right.
And single mother, you learn a lot of independence. It's practice. It's practice stepping into your femininity. And when I say femininity, it's not just the lipstick and the dress and it's not twerking and doing all that. That's not femininity. Femininity is being rooted and grounded and physically in Mother Earth, right? You spend time doing things that you love. So women, spend time doing things that you love. Learn to ask for help. Practice vulnerability. That's the key. Women think vulnerability, I don't want to be vulnerable. I'm strong. I'm capable. Vulnerability is a strength. Vulnerability is a requirement for a healthy and successful relationship. So practice being vulnerable with your friends. Practice sharing parts of yourself. Learn how to receive. Learn how to be led by other people. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're in your masculine most times. Not you, I'm saying a woman in general. When you're not doing that, step into your feminine. Let someone else lead you. Take a yoga class, a painting class. Being feminine is about enjoying pleasure. So find pleasure in your life. Learn non-sexual pleasure, right? Learn things that pleasure your body, that pleasure your senses, that pleasure your body to move. Those things will help you become more feminine in the essence of femininity, not just, I walk in the room and I'm just like, I know how to walk and my posture's great. Like, I mean, beyond that.
Yeah.
So, allow yourself to take a yoga class. Allow someone to lead you.
Yes.
Feminine energy is about doing less. And the issue with ambitious women and entrepreneur women is it's do, go, 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 go.
Yes.
And we're keeping up with the masculine male because we're in these masculine roles. And that's fine. That's great. It should be gender equality in business and work and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when we take the hat off when we walk through the door.
Yep.
Literally, like when you walk through the door, if you're working from home, have an office set up, but then you have a sanctuary of your candles and your journaling and your incense and your baths, and have that sacred time for yourself. Find pleasure in your life outside of just doing business. Allow people to do things for you. The masculine male is about achievement and getting there, goal-oriented. So we can be in that goal-oriented decision-making space during the day. But when you come home, try to make very little decisions. Don't think about too much. And allow things to be done for you. Say yes to help. If you want to learn the best way to be feminine, ask for help. And that's what entrepreneur women and strong women often struggle with.
Right. I agree. So overall, you dropped some amazing gems today. Like I'm listening to you, but I'm just watching these.
Yeah.
Yes, preach gems. Overall, what is your message to women who are in their 20s and 30s, who are not yet married, who don't have children, or maybe if you do have children, like what is your message to them, to us, I should say?
Spend time getting to know yourself. Make the relationship with yourself the most important relationship that you cultivate. Learn something new about yourself every day. Do something that scares you every day. Step out of your comfort zone. If what you've been doing isn't working, try something different. If you walk the same way to work and you see the same 10 people on your way to work, take a different route. And I mean that in the smallest sense and the biggest sense. Change up your life. Have multiple different experiences in your life. Meet different people. Travel the world. Really just practice being you. In your 20s, just practice being you. Make mistakes, because you're not going to gain wisdom in your 20s without making mistakes. It has to come with, and I like to call them must takes, but it's not going to come without, sort of taking these must takes or falling on your face sometimes. So create a life that you love. Spend time doing the things you love. Spend time with the people that you love. And release the pressure of getting it right. Release the pressure of your timeline, because it will never be your timeline. It's never our agenda. Don't be so focused on having things outside of yourself to fulfill you that you forget to create the things within yourself to fulfill you.
Tell us a little bit more about the Love Sanctuary, and for women who may be interested in hiring you as a coach, how do they find you? How do they sign up for your courses?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking that question. I've really enjoyed being here. So I teach the Love Sanctuary is the platform where I house everything that I do. And it was created literally to be the inner sanctum of our hearts, right? To go to that sanctuary within us, to find love, to be loved, to retreat in love. It's always that inner love sanctuary. You are the love sanctuary. Anything that you desire in life, whether it's entrepreneurship, a partner, more prosperity and abundance, it all comes from building it and feeling it, being it on the inside, the sanctuary. And so that's Love Sanctuary is where I house my offerings. That's my platform. The Conscious Love and Dating Method is my course. I teach an 8-week course. We're actually in our 3rd week, and we had John Gray. He is world-renowned relationship expert, author. He's written over 20 books, and he wrote one of the most famous books, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, in the 90s that's still talked about today. And anyway, he was in my course last night. I teach an 8-week course. It's really rich, really robust, women around the world. I'm live in the course. We talk about how to date with strategy. We talk about a lot of stuff, forgiveness, healing mother wounds. I mean, all the things that are going to show up in a relationship to help set you up to start doing that work now so that you're in better preparation when it comes. And the women are dating while they're in the course. So while they're dating, they're learning about themselves. And each week we have a session. They come in, they discover something new about themselves. I wrote a book. The book goes with the course. And we're in the middle of the course now. The next one doesn't launch till April, but you can go to lovesanctuary.com and join the wait list. You can also always follow me on Instagram, send me a DM. I do one-on-ones. I don't promote my one-on-ones. You just have to DM me. You can also schedule a consultation with me in my Instagram link and see if the course is a right fit for you. And I'll have your email and keep you abreast to when the next course launches. But ladies, whether you hire me as a coach and work with me or someone else, but if having a relationship is important to you, start investing in it now. Invest in yourself. Don't wait for this magical thing to happen and for it to be successful on its own. Plant the seed now, cultivate it, nurture it, so that you're setting yourselves up for something better. You're not waiting. Life, what we are seeking is seeking us. So move in the direction with intentionality of the things that you want and allow it to come to you. You are very welcome. Allow it to come to you. So be intentional, be proactive about your dating life. Take control of your dating life. Take a course, hire a coach, start therapy. You know where you are in your life. You know what you need. Invest in yourself. Like if you invest in the gym and you invest in everything else, thank you, Nikki. Invest in your spiritual self. Invest in your relationship, right? You're going to spend, if it works out, the rest of your life with someone. Doesn't that take investment and preparation? It should be taken so seriously. That's the message I want to point out. When I say take it seriously, I don't mean like be so rigid and focused on it that you have nothing else going on in your life. But what I mean is prioritize it in your life. Don't let your 30s, your 40s, your 50s pass by without you gaining the wisdom. Get the learnings, get the teachings, set yourself up for whatever's next. The relationship that didn't work out, what did you learn from it so that you can set yourself up better for the next relationship? Get the teachings more than anything. Become the partner to yourself that you want in someone else. Be that. If you want romance, don't wait for someone else to romance you. I hope everyone here watching gave yourself the most phenomenal Valentine's Day and didn't wait for roses from anyone else. You deserve roses from you. You deserve the chocolates, the candies, the champagne, the candlelight dinners. Don't wait for someone else to do those things. Yes. Become that partner. If you want vulnerability from your mate and intimacy, become intimate and vulnerable with yourself and comfortable with that within yourself. If you want someone who's kind and thoughtful and generous, how thoughtful and kind and generous are you to yourself?
Yes, I saw a post that said, practice your love languages on you.
That's it. That's how you create what you want, because you become the embodiment of that, and the energy of that will find its way to you.
Well, Angela, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your gems.
Yes, I'm glad it was helpful.
So much homework to do.
We all do.
But you've given us a lot of perspective, and that's really what the goal was. It wasn't just to sit here and think about, well, how can I get a man? It's what can I do as to become the woman that I need to be in order to attract the kind of man, or the kind of relationship that I'm looking for.
That's it. That's what you just said is all of it. Become that person.
Angela, thank you
for
so much for
me,
your
Anna.
time.
This was awesome.
This was amazing. I will follow up with you again.
Please do. I'll come back anytime.
Yes. And thank you so much for everyone who's watching. Have a great night.
Goodbye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.